So I've been doing this corporate graduation business for about 5 years now. And a couple of years ago, a very unexpected but beautiful surprise happened where my wife, Cecilia, joined. And we're able to tap into some of her really deep gifts around mindset and belief tuning. Because if you don't understand how to do the inner work, you'll never do the outer work as a founder. I don't care how good your strategies and tactics and mechanics are. If you don't believe yourself to be a founder through and through and redefine risk and engage situations differently and understand the idea of investment differently, all of it, you're never going to be able to make the move out of corporate and do this successfully. So what we did is sat by a lake and talked for a little bit about everything we want people to know from this moment going forward about what it takes to do corporate graduation and pull this off. If you're a senior professional and you've got a family and you've got all these life responsibilities, that's who we are. That's what we've gone through. And this is all we do with our clients. So we thought we'd have a very open, candid conversation about what it takes. There's a lot of key lessons that we're just opening up behind the books on what we would normally deal with clients. And you're going to get just an honest look as to what Cecilia and I talk through and what it takes to do corporate graduation these days. Hope you enjoy. Here we go. Lakeside. A lot of people have been wanting us to have a little bit of a chat. This is Matt. This is Cecilia. I call her Cess. Hey, this is Cess. This is Matt. Having a little chat by a lake on a Monday afternoon. And we don't know exactly where this is going to go, but where should we start? It's a big topic we need to uncover for people.
Well, we've been at this, how long now?
Corporate graduation, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, it's been about that. It's a lot we can unpack with that topic.
A lot we can unpack. So let's talk about patterns, trends. We've been at this for a while. So lots of things that we've been able to notice throughout the years with our clients. So what are some of the big things, big takeaways, big notice things that we've had?
I'm going to jump on a soapbox to start. And this is one of those that something really grinds my gears. When you look at all the nonsense on social media and the way that people try to move beyond corporate life and get into their own business, what do? What's the first move? They jump straight into it, right? There you go. Like, let me go. Oh, I've been successful in my corporate career. Let me go jump and start a business. What happens?
They fail because they've jumped in the water without any preparation. So they've been super successful in this corporate career. They've climbed the ladder. They've earned all the accolades, all the bonuses, all the titles. And they think, oh, I've got this. I can build a business. No problem. And then they try and they realize that, well, it's not just one or two hats you're wearing anymore. It's every hat you're wearing, and you're doing it by yourself. And there are so many potholes and dead ends that they're not prepared for. And oftentimes they run out of steam and they either give up or the company flounders.
So they build the business wrong, but here's the sequence we believe in and kind of why they get it wrong. Corporate graduation, there's 3 simple steps. There is space, self, and system, right? Space means make sure you have the time, energy, and attention you need in your life to even contemplate building out another chapter. A business, for the first time, one of the more daunting things you're ever going to do in your life. Arguably the hardest thing you can voluntarily do is go from corporate to running your own business and being successful in this modern age. So you need to have the space. That means like compressing down a corporate job that's too much. You got a 60-hour job, you better get it down to 25, 30 hours. And you got to suspend your disbelief that that's even possible for you. We've seen it time and again that it is. And then self. I mean, you've got to believe it in your core, because if you don't have those beliefs, you're not going to ultimately take the actions that are necessary to bring this whole thing to life, right? It takes really bold actions to bring this thing to life. And if those foundations aren't true, space and self, you don't have a chance in hell in building a system, which is the business itself. So those foundations get skipped pretty much all the time. Wouldn't you agree?
I do, especially self. The identity piece is so important. We see time and time again clients coming in and almost treating it like a checkbox system. I've done space, check.
I did my journaling.
Yeah, I did it. I'm good. Okay, now I'm ready for self, and I'm okay. Check. I'm doing the work. I'm meditating. I'm going on walks. I'm whatever it is.
I mean, you did it once.
You did it once, or you're starting to integrate it, but it's during that 20 minutes of the day, and then you shift to this other version of yourself, where you're trying to build this business, but you kind of leave the self work behind. I think a lot about Olympic level athletes, for example. If they are trying to compete to be in the Olympics, but they're telling themselves a story that will never be successful, what's the point in trying? I'm never going to get gold. I'm not even going to place. What's the point? I shouldn't even bother. But they're still showing up to practice, but they have this belief that they're not going to be successful. Is that person ever going to be successful? No, it seems so obvious. And yet we have all these people coming through our program who have these stories in their mind of, who would ever buy from me? I'm not anybody. Like this massive imposter syndrome of, what do I have to offer the world? Who is ever going to trust me or purchase from me or hire me? And then, but they still do the logical step-by-step work without believing that it's possible for them.
Yeah, and there's work to be done for the belief stuff, right? I think a lot of people jump to like, well, if you just magically believe it, like, no, there's tangible, dedicated work you do day over day to take your old operating system, which has a bunch of code that doesn't serve you anymore, about, I'm a VP of this and my whole self-worth is tied up in this path, and instead you wipe that out. You got to install new code, which goes, I'm a founder. I deliver this powerful, unique outcome. No one in the world can do what I can. You got to believe that. You got to speak it. You got to bring your voice. You got to bring your perspective to the world. Because if you don't have that shared with the world, no one knows you exist, then you're not building jack shit. So that's point one. I think really space and self is kind of the foundations people miss, right?
For sure. And so tying in energy as well. I think we can't say enough how important your energy is in this game, that you can't just show up and do the work but feel like shit every day. You have to get to a better feeling place. You have to feel good. You have to feel excited. You have to increase your energy or frequency or vibration, whatever you want to call it, so that you can start to align with this new version of yourself.
Yeah, it's huge. And I think our greatest client successes and ours ourselves too, and kind of moving beyond our old lives, is that we do that daily work and we normalize it. It's not just once, it's done every day. I never stop doing my space work and my self work so that I have a chance of working on the system, which is the business vehicle itself, the change you do out in the real world. There's another topic I want to jump onto, which is what I think your greatest asset is in this world. A lot of people in corporate life are trained to like, well, number one, it's the salary. Keep growing that, whatever you can squeeze out of the corporate lemon, that's awesome. Or then they say, they might read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and say like, invest in real estate, invest in buying a boring business, very big thing right now, or jump into a franchise model. All those assets though are outside of themselves. And I would say like this asset, you are so undervaluing it. When you're working for someone else, you're just asked to use this tiny little fraction of what you're capable of, what what you've experienced. I think of that as career capital. And when you go through the digging into the dirt, like you would around here, dig it out, and you got this, wow, this gold, what do I do with it? You got to package it. And then you've got this like, wow, career capital, all the hard things I've overcome, credibility receipts, battle scars, people people who trust you. And when you have that, you can generate it into something, intellectual property. And I think IP, you have it, I have it, all of us that have gone through hard things have it, but we just got to go through packaging it and creating it as an asset, you name it, right? So what we have in our business, our core IP is corporate graduation. That space, self, and system framework, there's so much depth under it. It's like 1,000 pages if you were to print it out. So much content. You got to find ways to bring it to people. You can bring it out through courses, exercises, software, which we're going down. You can license it, you can workshop it. There's a lot you can do with it, but I think more people need to trust up here. That is their greatest asset. They'll say it, but they won't do anything about it, especially the folks we're working with. If they go through the process of uncovering it, a whole new world awaits, a whole new future can be created that they can dig into and build a business around.
I just refuse to believe that we are all put here to build someone else's dream.
Right.
I think there's something within each of us, our unique path, our unique set of circumstances that have all led us to where we are right now. And I think that there's, to your point, a lot of gold in that, and people take it for granted. They think, well, doesn't everyone have these experiences? Who am I? How am I special? How am I different? And our job is to shine a light on how unique and valuable their life journey is, their career capital, their life experiences, and how valuable it can be to other people who are walking that path behind them.
We see it time and again. The normal response beyond corporate is for someone to take 20 years of what they've been doing and then repackage it under their own business. We call that corporate replication. It's just like, take what I've been doing. People know me for doing X, so should I just create it under my own business? The truth is, there's a reason you don't want to be there anymore. You don't like it anymore. Sure, you could keep doing it. You could keep earning hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it doesn't serve you anymore. You're not excited. If you're not energized, everyone in your life is affected by your lack of energy. Your future, your finances, your family, all of it is impacted by you not liking what you do anymore. As the world's changing like crazy right now, what you've been doing is likely going to devalue. So you need to figure out, how can I put myself on a path of increasing value, and use your gifts, use your career capital to say, what can I build that doesn't exist, that the people you want to help in this world would value? And we got to go through that process.
And that AI can't do for you.
Right. It can help fine tune and help you see blind spots, but we use the analogy from the movie F1 with Brad Pitt in it. So Brad Pitt, stud, right? He knows what he's doing as a driver. He, in that movie, has like 30 years behind race cars. And he's in this F1 supercar, which is arguably the most powerful vehicle on earth for that type of racing. But that vehicle can't do jack shit without Brad, the amazing driver. And he's the one calling the shots, directing it. So imagine AI and all of today's tool as the vehicle, the F1 car, and then you've got the F1 driver. That's the relationship we need to have. Brad, his job is to be the best self he can, to tap into his thoughts. How am I going to drive today? How do I visualize it? How do I make the moves on the course? Where is my opportunity to bypass people? Where's my opportunity to use my advantages out there today? And then he guides the vehicle when they're out on the course. It's not just like, hey, F1, win it for me. It's not some autonomous vehicle. So we need to separate ourselves. The driver is the critical thinking skills. We need to make sure we're tapping into it using our journaling, self-talk, housing out with other humans, brainstorming, and then we get the tooling like AI to help us accelerate what we decided on. I'm in 10-80-10, which is the 10% up front is you directing the decision itself. We're going this way. And then you let the vehicle run it for 80% of the time. And then the last 10%, you fine tune and check what it says you did. So the humans at the beginning, the humans at the end, the horsepower is being done in the middle by the awesome vehicle, but we can't relinquish that. I don't know why we got into Brad Pitt and F1s there that quickly, but here we go, right?
There's always a way.
Yeah. I love that movie. What else should we dig into? People need to know.
I mean, going back to what we were just talking about, I think one of the biggest mistakes we see is that people treat it all like a checkbox system. And to your point, I just want to reiterate you saying or emphasize your point earlier of like, this is something we do every day. And, you know, speaking for myself, there are times that I do get caught up in life where we'll go on a vacation and my routine is thrown off and then I stop doing my routine at home, and then I'll realize, oh shit, my energy sucks and I'm feeling frustrated, and I realize like I have gone down my little self mountain. You know, I like to use that analogy all the time. It's this constant, like, it's not like you've scaled one mountain, or you've scaled one pillar, or you've scaled space and you've scaled self and now you're good. You have to constantly be tending to the other mountains. You're constantly climbing and constantly making sure you're not, you know, getting out of reach of that summit. Because the moment you get lazy and you forget and you start sliding backwards, you don't realize it right away. But soon, as you get closer to the bottom, you start to feel it in your body, and you start to see like the world around you kind of reacting to that dip in energy, and then everything falls apart, and then you have to start over again.
Let's make it real, if I could. One of our clients, we'll call him Brian, starts with a B, came to us recently, and he had gone through space himself, was on the system. He launched his first cohort for his business. It was live, and then he came back to us a month or two later. What was his realization?
Well, he had completely crashed, and he realized exactly what I was talking about. oh shit, I need to work on myself. And so I went on the system and I built the thing and I led the thing and I got clients and all this stuff. And now, like, the high that he experienced when his cohort started was matched by the low he experienced at the end when it was over, and he was like, oh shit, like I did not build a solid enough foundation to handle the ebbs and flows of foundership. And so he's back at square one, and he's coming back to my calls, which are focused on mindset, because he was absent from them for a while because he was good, he had it. And now he's showing up to his calls, he's participating, he's doing the work again, and getting back in touch with the stories in his mind, the limiting beliefs, the mental health work, the inner work that is so vital to being successful in everywhere else. I often use this analogy of, like, the world is a mirror, and it's just holding up a mirror to you, and what you see is a reflection of what's going on within. And if you want that mirror to smile at you, you can't just will it to smile, right? Like, you have to smile first in order for the reflection to change. So the work all starts with you, within you, in order for the exterior to change.
And let me be very vulnerable for a second here on that same lens. I've had my ups and downs. I've been out of corporate almost over 4 years at this point, and still doing the work, space and self, retooling the business to be what it can be with corporate graduation. Now, I have my ebbs and flows. Sometimes I feel like I'm at my high and I'm doing well and firing on all cylinders and the car is doing its thing. I've done a lot of rebuild in 2026 so far, like raising the bar on who we help, what it takes to come in here. Very high standard for who we work with and what we demand of each other in that relationship. We want the highest caliber experience for people, first class. And, bringing that to life from a marketing and sales standpoint, you change the way you do things, and there's a lag time when the results start to come. And that was eating away at me for a while. The last couple of years, like, I had a high bar for revenue, new clients, experience, and then there was this huge dip because I took a step back to reinvent things, and now I'm waiting for the results to take off, which they are, and they're trending that way. But that lag was eating away at me, and started to feel like I had these demons inside of me. Like, I was angry. Like, there were moments where a little thing would set me off. A new client that was supposed to come, they didn't. I'd like, bang the table, and it sucked. Like, I didn't feel like myself. We were in Mexico, right? And and I was like, there were moments where I felt like I couldn't participate, and that sucked.
Yeah. And many dinners where I notice we're eating and your hand is just clenched in a fist, and I have to reach across the table and
unclench it.
Let it go. But what it reminds me of is planting new seeds, and then we get frustrated because the seeds aren't growing, so we dig them up. Are they growing yet? Are they growing yet? And then we're like, what the fuck? How come it hasn't come out of the ground yet? And we forget that there is this time where new ideas have to take root and they have to grow, and we have to nurture them, and that's our job. And it takes time, and we get impatient, and then we get frustrated that we don't have fruit yet. And so that's part of that inner work. Part of that self-work is understanding that transitions and transformation takes time. And just because we decide right now that we're going to change something doesn't mean that the exterior world is going to show that to us right away.
Yeah.
What we experience right now is a product of our past actions. And so if we want a new reality, we have to change some things, and that takes time to kind of incubate and grow.
Yeah, I like the phrase that the inner work makes the outer work. If we ever lose sight on working through the thoughts and emotions and deciding differently, quietly, in peaceful stillness, whatever you do externally out there is not going to catch up. And that's a really frustrating thing. In the last few days, I feel like I've hit a much better place. So the last few days has been way better for me. And doing much more deep inner work the last few days, I feel like those few demons that were crawling around in my brain were released. And I can't tell you the peace and stillness I have. This is a Monday, we're recording this, and jumping into this Monday morning, I feel like I have all the clarity and calm and energy I need to go build what needs to be built this week and then the next week. But I had to release that, and I'm sorry it showed up in Mexico. That sucked. But it was for moments, and now I'm at a state where I know this week is going to be absolutely transformative and focused and doing the right thing. So,
Well, I'll say this too, is it helps to have a partner who's willing to call you out. And
you did so very well.
Who's willing to sit through the hard conversations and help you. And you do it for me too. Like, we call each other out when we're at the bottom of our mountain, or when our energy sucks. You know, we both feel it when we are struggling with our energy. We're struggling with having our inner work connect to our outer work. And having someone who's willing to sit with you through that and call you out and give you kind of like a release valve, if you will, to let it come out is really helpful.
But you can't depend on just having it as a partner. Sometimes we found our clients, their partners or spouses will actually be the most combative forces in their life. So that's not going to be that person for everyone. But whether it's a coach, whether it's a peer on this journey with you, some form of mentor, you need to make sure that you have people in your life that will help call you out, challenge you to higher heights, because we will self-sabotage. We will get in our own way endlessly. If we think I can GPT my way through this whole thing, just me and AI will be good, that is another smacking into a wall waiting to happen.
Well, there's kind of this sick satisfaction of feeling like shit. Like, it's hard to climb out of that. And it feels like more effort to change your mood, change your energy, change your vibration than it is just to stay there. I always feel like feelings are sticky. And so if I'm feeling like crap, there's almost this satisfaction of, I just want to stay here. I just want to feel like shit. And I don't want to climb out of it. I don't want to feel good. And then when you start to like challenge that and, okay, well, let me just try. Okay, let me just reach for something that feels better. And then you see how easy it is to climb out of it, but in the moment, it is really hard to see it.
It is a sick satisfaction. And you kind of want people to see it and feel bad for you.
Totally.
It's just how we're wired, right? We want the sympathy of, oh, I'm so frustrated. I want you to feel my frustration and feel bad for me. How does that make it better? Logically, you're like, that's dumb, but you somehow have this sick desire for it.
I think your energy is trying to resonate with similar energy. And so when your energy is so low, it's trying to find something that's resonating at the same energy. And so when someone comes in the room and they're feeling much better, like, no, like, you get down here with me so I can feel this like companionship. And so I think it's just a matter of, I don't know, being willing to look at yourself and understand the impact of where you are on your ability to create the machine that you're trying to create.
Isn't that nervous system alignment thing that you're going to gravitate to? If you're down here, you're going to be around other people like that. But if you have someone who's vibrating up here, like, you know what, you're better than this, you can come, you're going to start moving up because you have people in your life that pull you up. It's like a magnetic field. But if you only have people at your life down here, or you're by yourself, guess what? You're staying down here. Who's going to build a business like that? Nobody.
Yeah.
Successful, at least. What should some takeaway messages be?
I guess my big thing is just don't take the inner work for granted, because if you do, none of the outer work that you're trying to build will ever work. So you can have the grandest visions in the world and the best ideas, but if you are stuck in not having space and not having worked on self, everything else will fall apart. So to invest the time in yourself so that you can create the system you're trying to create. That's the end goal, right? We want to become founders, successful founders. So invest in yourself in order to do that.
There it is. And also just stamp that, self-invest, know what that actually means, be around the right people and ideas that get you to the new heights. More to come. Hopefully you guys like this stuff. We'll do more of these. See you next time.